What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Straatien coming at you with a recap of the Xbox 2020 showcase. If you like what you see, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Lets me know that the content that I'm putting out is obviously something that you enjoy. Hell, even if you don't like it, please let me know. If there's some things, I'm always open to constructive criticism. If there's something that you think, hey, you could be doing better, or I like what you're doing here, but I don't know about this, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. If anything, it helps me make the channel better. You can also find us live 2 to 3 days a week over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Straatien, on Facebook at Straatien, and also on Twitter at Straatien_tech. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that opened up with this showcase was the Halo Infinite, and this was big. This was huge. This was a title that I think we really needed to see, and I think the one of the best things that happened with this is that they actually had real gameplay footage. So they were actually showing us what the world looks like, what combat looks like, these kind of things. And I think that was huge because Halo Infinite, I feel like, has been in kind of in the talks for a while now. People have been talking about it, but we haven't actually seen much. Haven't seen anything like really concrete. So I think this was a really good play for them to actually show legitimate footage. The one thing that I really did enjoy about this information and this release and everything that they were showing is that they are keeping everything original, which I think is huge and I think is the best thing to do. They are keeping the environments, the vehicles, the enemies, the weapons. Looks like the UI, most of it is the same. It's what we've seen in all Halo games, which I think is great. That's, I believe, what needs to happen. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And in this case, all of us that love those Halo titles, I know I'll definitely be getting into it. Definitely be getting that. This allows us to have that same genuine Halo feel that we're all familiar with, but with a new, just fresh, something fresh looking, fresh content, all these kind of things, which I thought was awesome. One of the first things that they showed inside of it that I absolutely loved was the zip line. So Master Chief will now have a zip line, it looks like, on his left hand that he can use for multiple things. So it showed you shooting up to a higher spot on the map, right? Just using that, shooting it out, and then getting to a higher spot on the map. And then it also showed it as being a tool for battling. So it showed Master Chief shooting that zip line to an enemy, and then you went to the enemy, which is very cool. This is something that I have seen before. In Astral Chain is the name of the title. It was a game on Switch, the Nintendo Switch, that used this type of combat, and it was very enjoyable. I really did like it. So I think this is good. I think this is going to make gameplay and battling a lot more fun. It would be very interesting to see how that'll play into PvP though, because I could potentially see some exploiters getting dirty with that. They did obviously mention that it was in 60 frames per second, which is huge. I mean, this is like something that's like so small, but at the same time so big, because I feel like we're at this point in time where we should not be putting out games that are less than 60 frames per second. It just doesn't need to be happening. All of these new title games need to be coming at us in 60 plus frames per second. I feel like consoles are at that point where that is possible, and that's not asking for too much. So that was definitely big. They also did mention, excuse me, that this game will be, and not only this game, but this was kind of the big part of the whole thing. Not only this game, but all of the games showcased today in this series, in this Xbox Showcase series, will be on Game Pass, guys. So that is, I mean, that is huge. That's absolutely huge. Game Pass is already a huge thing, right? Game Pass is already something that's kind of arguably taking over the gaming world in certain senses, right? But this will only promote it further. This will only make it bigger. So every title that they showcase today is going to be on Game Pass, and that is after Halo Infinite. State of Decay came on, right? So they had like this big opener, and then they came down a little bit to State of Decay and showed just a general trailer. There really wasn't much there. No gameplay, no nothing, just a trailer. So then after that, they went to Phil Spencer, and Phil Spencer talked for a minute and kind of mentioned all the stuff that we know about the Xbox, right? The ray tracing, 4K. He's saying all games will be on 60 frames per second. I hope to God that's true. I really do, because again, I've already talked about it, but that's what we need. That's what we need on consoles is 60 plus frames per second on everything. He did mention how the Series X is going to be definitely manufactured to supplement better to game devs, which I think is good. So that means that game devs don't have to worry about kind of downscaling their games in order to put it onto the console, in order to put it onto the Xbox console. And that's big. That's a huge thing. And then he also mentioned Game Pass, and that is definitely a huge thing. Everything, all of these, I mean, Halo Infinite, guys, is going to be on Game Pass. It's going to be on Game Pass, which is awesome, right? So if you are a Game Pass member and you got that $15 a month for the Game Pass, you will be able to play this game on launch. I mean, that's such a good move by Xbox. So Phil Spencer came out and talked about that. After Spencer came out and talked, we saw Forza come out. Of course, wouldn't be a showcase, wouldn't be an Xbox showcase without a Forza title being released, right? So very cool. Typical, Forza though. It's something that I'm not going to be really like chomping at the bit to get, but I'll definitely check it out, especially if it's on Game Pass. Why not, right? Next title that came out or that they showed was Everwild. I believe it was one word, Everwild. It was an absolutely beautiful trailer. I really did enjoy the trailer. I thought it was just very harmonic. It was very beautiful. The video, the music, everything just kind of left you with that that chakra meditation vibe, which I thought was very cool. Very well done. I don't know if it's necessarily a title that I will check out. I might. I don't know. I'm still iffy on that one. But good presentation overall. After that, we saw a couple more titles here and there. Tell Me Why was one of them. This one looks very similar to like the Walking Dead series. Same type of similar animations. And it looks like it is also releasing in chapters. So I know we've seen a couple games do that so far with the chapter release. I personally don't know how successful. I would imagine they would have to be relatively successful if games are continuing to do it. We could get into a whole different video on chapter release and all that kind of stuff, monetization, these kind of things, to where you could potentially kind of go 50-50 on the whole idea of releasing a game in chapters. After that, they showed Ori. So this is actually very cool, and I'm very impressed that they're doing this because the last Ori just came out, God, not too long ago, right? And they are revamping it again for the Series X. And the big thing about this one, and they actually showed it like with a split screen, is that they showed both of them, and the new title is going to be in 120 frames per second. 120 frames per second. I'm so excited about this. And again, I think this kind of just goes back to my previous statement to where I said, everything really needs to be in 60 frames per second. If we can have Ori at 120 frames per second, there's really we can't sit here and say, it wasn't possible. It could only come in 30 frames. I call bull on that one. So that was a huge release. So very cool. It doesn't look like they're adding anything new to it. It is just a revamped version, which is very, very cool. They then came and showed a Outer Worlds expansion. I never played it, but I know it was a huge title, so that one will definitely, I'm sure, sit well with a lot of people. They showed a game, Grounded. Uh, it's very interesting to me how we have these kind of, I don't know, like rated E for everyone titles coming out. I feel like we saw a ton of them on the Sony showcase, to where a lot of the game people were just like, you know, why would I as an adult want to play something like that? Grounded kind of had that vibe. It was a very well made trailer. I will give it that. I laughed. I was laughing the whole time um, on the trailer. So it was genuinely very funny. So I did enjoy that trailer. After that, we had Avowed. Definitely looks interesting. Definitely reminds me. First thing I thought of was a Elder Scrolls slash Doctor Strange mix. So you had the little spiral digital deal going around your left hand, and then you had a sword in your right. So you kind of had that Doctor Strange left hand, but then you had the sword on the right hand. So in the first person deal definitely gave you that Elder Scrolls vibe. They then showcased Hellblade a little bit. Didn't really do much with it. Just kind of showed some of the in-engine footage. They did mention that it was running on Unreal Engine 5 on Xbox and PC, which is good. They also mentioned that it takes place in Iceland. Destiny 2 is the next one that came out. That was definitely a huge one. Destiny 2, I mean, bravo Bungie, man. They are doing it. They are doing it well. Destiny 2, the big thing on this one is that I'd say two or three big announcements. The first one is that in September, I believe they said September, Destiny 2 is already free to play anyway, right? Whether it's on console or PC. But as of right now, you can't get the you have to buy the expansions, and they're about $30 pop, so about $60 worth in order to get to current day Shadowkeep. You have to buy those. You don't necessarily have to buy both. You can just buy Shadowkeep if you wanted to, but that's also there. So they mentioned that in coming September, I believe, late September, if I interpret it right, they weren't super specific on it, but the way I interpreted it was that Forsaken and Shadowkeep are both going to be available on Game Pass, free to play, in September. So this is huge. This is great. Anyone that's playing the game free in September, just hold out a little bit, because you should have both expansions coming September. So that's awesome. It's also going to be available on xCloud. So they mentioned that the mobile play is possible. And then it's also going to be in 60 frames per second. So that was very cool. Stalker, not too bad. Not too much info given on that one. They did a couple more titles after that: Warhammer, Tetris, Gunk. But again, it was just trailers. So not really much info given there. The Medium was shown at the last showcase, the first one that they did. I know a lot of people, including myself, were super interested in that. And they actually showed a little bit of gameplay. So they have what's called dual world gameplay. So they showed a split screen, and you had your normal self on one side, and then it almost looked like a weird doppelganger kind of thing on the right hand side. So it was very cool to look at. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. They then had Phantasy Star Online, showed some general gameplay. Digging it, looks cool. I've always kind of been a sucker for those style of games anyway. Crossfire X, they did give a little gameplay on that. I'm interested. I'll definitely be checking that out. And then they ended with Fable. Which was huge. That was something that a lot of people were talking about, and rightfully so. It looks good. They didn't show any actual gameplay, nothing in game. It was just a trailer, but this is awesome. This is huge. I mean, Fable, man. Fable, you can't have Xbox without Fable, right? It's one of those ones that's beloved by so many, including myself. And then at the end of it, they just kind of did a kind of a quick recap, and I will do that for you now as well. So everything showcased today, as I mentioned before, will be on Game Pass. All of it will be on Game Pass, which is huge. All next-gen conversions will be, or next gen titles, if you buy them for current gen, you will be able to get them on the Series X at no cost. No cost. Again, bravo to Xbox and Microsoft for doing that. That's going to be huge. And that is pretty much it. I mean, it was a good showcase overall, not too bad. Definitely had those kind of titles, but overall, overall I was digging it. So that is pretty much what that was. About an hour and 20 minutes, not too bad. I'm going to end the video here. I'm just going to quickly recap again. If you guys love it, if you hate it, let me know. If you like it, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button below there. Check me out over on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. And I think I'm going to go ahead and end it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you stick through for the whole thing, I greatly appreciate it. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.